Attitude is everything. Change your attitude, change your life. Jeff Keller. The night that changed my life. The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their life by altering their attitudes of mind. William James. In 1980s, I graduated from law school and thought I would be a lawyer for the rest of my life. After all, that's what I would wanted to do since my early teenage years. At first, everything went according to plan. After lots of studying that summer, I passed the bar examination and was admitted to practice law in New York. My personal life was also on the upswing. In early 1981, I married Dollar, a school classmate. I was on my way to much success and happiness. So, or so I thought. But after practicing law for a few years, I realized I was not happy at all. Sure, there were something I liked about being a lawyer. I enjoyed helping people resolve their disputes, especially when I could save them the agony of lengthy court proceeding. Yet there were so many things about being an attorney that I disliked, and that just seemed to drain the life out of me. Mounts and mounts of tedious paperwork and motion to be filled. Constant delays and postponement. It was not uncommon for a trial to be postponed 10 times. I dreaded going to work. I continued to grind out the work, but I grew more and more dissatisfied as a attorney. I was frustrated and very depressed, to put it bluntly. I didn't like my life and saw no way that things were going to improve. Have you ever had a job where you dreaded going to work most days, where you felt that weight on the world of the world on your shoulders each day? Well, that's how I felt. I was literally hunched over and in pain, both physically and emotionally. I looked much older than my years. I began to get headache all the time, and my stomach was constantly churning. Fearing that I had some serious health problem, I saw some doctors and they order a battery of tests. Every test come back with the same result. They could not find anything physically wrong with me. One of the doctors suggested that I take Malox of calm my upset stomach. Spiritually, I was dead. Nothing in my life had much meaning. This day-to-day drudgery was also affecting my appearance. Although I was in my late 20s, I looked like I was 40. In the early part of 1985, shortly after I had turned 30 years old, I was burned out, and one particular evening, while sitting alone in my den, I knew that something had to change. Not knowing what to do, I simply said out loud, "There is got to be more to my life than this. There is got to be more than this misery and unhappiness. Helps come from an unlikely source." Later that night, I was watching TV in the den. I was around 1 a.m. and my wife, Dollar, had already gone to bed, but I was feeling so down I couldn't sleep. I channel suffered looking for something to occupy my time. I turned into to all things an infomercial. Normally, I would have changed that channel in a fraction of a second, but for some reason I listened. The product being peddled was called the Mental Bank and was endorsed by article Florence Henderson of Brady Bunch fame. The Mental Bank was a home study course that explained how everything we achieve in life is based upon our subconscious belief. I felt so desperate at that point that I decided to go for it. I pulled out my credit card and ordered the program. That night in my den was turning point of my life. You are not what you think you are, but what you think you are. By the way, when I sheep sheepishly told Dollars what I had done a day or a day later, too later, she was shocked. You did what? She asked in amazement. It is not that she objected to purchase. It was just so out of character of me to buy something like that on impulse, and worse yet, from TV infomercial. Several days later, the mental book program arrived at my doorstep, and I was fascinated and excited to begin learning how our thought determined the quality of our lives. Prior to that time, I had never heard this idea. Unfortunately, they don't teach you this stuff in school. The mental bank program spurred me to seek out the speak out other motivational resources. I began to read books by Napoleon Hill or Mandino, Norman Vincent Pal, or Robert Sculler. I started reading the Bible on a regular basis and eagerly listened to inspiring audio programs by Zig Ziglar, Early Nightingale, Jim Rohn, Bob Proctor, and many others. I felt like the person who had wandered for days in the desert with a pursued thought, and then suddenly found a stream of water. Now I can't tell you that everything in my life changed overnight because it didn't happen the way, but from the moment I began to change from a negative attitude to positive attitude, I started get significant result. um, why I felt better. I had more energy and I started to achieve goals that I would never have accomplished before, all because of a change in my attitude. I'm so happy to report that what people now ask how old I am, and I say 57, the invariably reply, "You look much younger." It's all in the attitude. From lawyer to motivational speaker, I continued my self study program in my spare time while I worked full time as a lawyer. Positive thinking was helping my attitude at work, but I felt a passion for my hobby that I never felt for my work, and I dreamed about the day I could walk away from my job. In 1989, after 4 years of intensive research about attitude and motivational concept, I agreed to present some adult educational seminars in the evening at the local school. I was to be paid $30 for each 2 hours class, not the kind of money that let you quit your day job. Never underestimate your power to change yourself. As I stood in front of the class to start my first seminar, I was petrified. My heart was pounding and I was sweating, but somehow I managed to muster the courage to just do it. The student loved the class and got real adrenaline rush from presenting the material that had revolutionized my own life and that had the power to do some for others. I was on my way. Eventually, the speaking fees grew a little larger, and in 1990, I decided to phase out my law career over the next few years. This was not simple decision. I had gone up 4 years of college and 3 years of law school to obtain my law degree. On top of that, I had spent 10 years of my life as a practicing lawyer. When you have that much investing in career, it is not so easy to walk away. Then, of course, there was the money issue. As a lawyer, I was on track to earn $100,000 in a few years. I would be earning that much and more for the rest of my professional career. Taking a stand. Although I was earning a little more incoming from my new hobby, I realized that I would have startup expenses in launching my new enterprises. Fortunately, dollars and I had saved some money over the year. To supplement my income, I began to sell a line merchandise with my unique attitude is everything logo. But there was no way to avoid it. I would have to take a huge financial step backward to start my new business, at least in the beginning. A positive attitude is a person's passport to a better tomorrow. And yet, it was time to move on. I felt as if I was being pulled out of the legal profession and into my new career. Whenever I spoke to an audience or wrote a motivational essay, I was so invigorated, invigorated and full of life. I knew that's where I belonged. So I made a gradual transition, working 4 days a week as a lawyer, then 3 days a week, then 2 days a week until 1992. I began working full time as a motivational speaker and writer. Trust me, my mother was not thrilled when I told her that I was giving up the practice of law to speak about attitude. After all, it doesn't carry the prestige of my saying my son is a lawyer. But this are issues you have to deal with when you take stand in your life. You have to face the fact that some people will disapprove of your decision. I also learned that you often have to let go something in your life and take a few steps backward before you can move forward in a new direction. Part of the price I had to pay was giving up the money, prestige, and security of my legal career. By the way, as it turned out, my mother became very supportive of my new career, especially when she saw that I was making progress and that I really enjoyed my work. Why I am why am I telling you all this about my career transition? It's not to impress you with what I've done. Believe me, I've made plenty of blunders and mistakes along the way. I'm sharing my story because I want you to know how drastically my life changed and how much better it got when I made a change in my attitude. Proof positive that indeed attitude is everything. You will be you how you will benefit from this book. Some final thought before we launch right into this material. This book can help you no matter how positive or negative you are right now. If you are negative, don't despair. You can use this concept to develop and maintain a positive attitude and to achieve incredible breakthroughs in your life. If you are already positive person, you can use this principle to soar to even greater heights of success and fulfillment. I've spent more than 20 years researching why it is some people succeed while others achieve disappointing results during the time. I've read a few hundred book and thousands of magazine article on attitude of success. I've listened to more than 3000 hours of audio book. In addition, I've interviewed countless high achievers to learn their success secret. More importantly, I've personally applied each and every success strategy that is described in this book. So I know from first hand experience, first hand first first hand experience that this idea work and that they have the power to literally transform your life. Think, act and talk with enthusiasm and you will attract positive result. Please don't misunderstand me. Don't claim to be know it all the thing subject. Far from it. I consider myself a work in progress and I continue to learn every day. However, I know what it's like to have a negative attitude because that's the kind of attitude I had for the 30 years of my life. I know what it's like to doubt yourself and your abilities because that's what I did for 30 years. All of the positive changes I've made in my life are the results of practicing the principles you will read about in this book. Think, Speak, Act. This book is conveniently divided into three parts, and each part contains a series of lessons. So, if you ever need reinforcement in a particular area, it will be easy for you to turn to that lessons and reread it. In part 1, success begin in the mind. You will be focusing on the power of attitude and belief to shape your destiny. You'll learn how your success initially depends on the way that you think. Part 2, watch your words. Well, concentrate on the way that you speak. Your attitude is reflected in your words, and how positive language can help propel you towards your goal. Part 3, Heaven helps those who act. We'll cover the final leg of our journey. Even if you think positively and speak positively, you won't achieve your dream until you act. You can't sit back and just expect a success to pay you a visit. In this section, you will learn the action steps that will turn your dream into reality. When you think, speak, act in ways that support your success, you are firing an all cylinder cylinders, and on the way to achieving a phenomenal result in your life. You are about to embark on a journey that will bring you success and happiness beyond your wildest dreams. So let's get started. Part 1, Success begins in the mind. Success is a state of mind. If you want success, start thinking of yourself as a success. Your attitude is your window to the world. Better keep yourself clean and bright. You are the window through which you must see the world. It was just after 1 pm and Sarah was getting hungry. She had put in a few productive hours of work at her desk and decided to get a bite to eat at a nearby coffee shop. A few minutes later, Sam walked into the coffee shop. He too was on his lunch break. Sam sat down at a table a few feet away from Sarah. The same waitress served Sarah and Sam that afternoon. Each customer waited about the same amount of time before the waitress took the order. Each of them received their meal around the same time. Each of them was served well prepared, wholesome food, and each waited the same amount of time for the waitress to deliver the check. But that's where the similarities ended. Sarah had walked into the coffee shop with a smile, a spring in her step, and very positive outlook on the world. It was plain for everyone to see. Her body language and her posture reflected her optimism. Sarah had a delightful lunch, exchanged some pleasant conversation with the waitress, and went back to the work with a recharged battery. Sam, on the other hand, had entered the coffee shop with a scowl on his face. He looked like he would been sucking on sore pickles all morning. He was hunched over and tense. His body language cried out, "Stay away from me." He was annoyed then when the waitress didn't take his order immediately. He was annoyed at how long it took for his meal to arrive. He complained about the food and was furious when he didn't get his check right away. Where did Sarah and Sam Why did Sarah and Sam have such different experiences in the coffee shop? Remember that each was treated in exactly the same way. It comes down to this: Sarah sees the world with a positive attitude, Sam sees the world a negative attitude. Attitudes are a secret power working 24 hours a day for a good or a bad. A definition of attitude. Think of your attitude as a as the mental filter through which you experience the world. Some people see the world through the filter of optimism, the glass of being half full, while others see life through a filter of pessimism, the glass of being half empty. Let me give some example to explain the difference between positive attitude and negative attitude. The person with a negative attitude thinks I can't. The person with a positive attitude thinks I can. The person with a negative attitude dwell on the problem. The person with a positive attitude concentrates on solution. The person with a negative attitude finds faults with others. The person with a positive attitude looks for the good in others. The person with negative attitude focuses on what is missing. The person with a positive attitude count his or her blessings. The person with a negative attitude sees limitations. The person with a positive attitude sees possibilities. I could go on and on with the example, but I'm sure you get the idea. When I talk to audience about attitude, I often like to use word pictures. They help people to understand and remember what I said. Let me paint this picture for you. Your attitude is your window to the world. Everyone starts with a clean mental window. Let's take a few moments to discuss why I say that, what that your attitude is. Um, your window to the world. We all start out in life with a good attitude, or should I say, clean mental window. Just to watch young children, they are always laughing and giggling. They have sunny disposition. They love to explore new things. Consider the attitude of child who's learning to walk. When he stumbles and falls down, what does he do? I'll tell you what he doesn't do. He doesn't frown or blame the carpet. He doesn't point fingers at his mother or father for giving him loosey instruction. He doesn't quite, oh no. He smiles, get up again and makes another attempt and another. He keeps going for weeks and weeks with a positive attitude until he gets it right. His window is squeaky, clean, and he feels like he can conquer the world. But as you know, there comes a point where life starts throwing some dirt at our windows, and here's what's happened. Our windows get splattered by criticism from parents and teachers. Our windows get smudged by ridicule from peers. Our windows get smudged by rejection. Our windows get soiled by disappointments. Our window get clouded by doubt. The problem is the dirt keeps building up, and all too many people do nothing about it. They continue to go through life with the filthy window. They lose their enthusiasm. They get frustrated, depressed. You can't always control circumstances, but you can control your own thoughts. And most tragically, they give up on their dreams, all because they failed to clean their attitude window. That's the road I was traveling down. I had a dirty window when I was an attorney, and the longer I stayed in that field, the filthier my window got. I saw no possibilities. How could I? My window was splattered with the mud of negativity. Wash your window. But then, by the grace of God, I learned that all I had to do was clean off my window. I had to improve my attitude so I could see the world clearly again. After I removed the grim from my window, a whole new world opened up for me. The frustration and depression lifted. I had more confidence. For the first time in many years, I could see the magnificent possibilities that life had to offer. And I was able to make a career transition and do work that I absolutely love. When you really think about it, I'm in the business of helping people to clean off their windows to get a better attitude. Do you see what I mean? When I saw that attitude is your window to the world, can you appreciate how your attitude affects the way you see everything in your life? More importantly, are you beginning to see those areas where your window needs to be washed? You control your attitude. It's your job to keep your window clean. Sure, I can give you a little encouragement, and other people can encourage you too. But in the end, nobody else can do it for you. You see, you always have a choice. You can leave the filth on your window and look at life through a smudged glass. But there are consequences to that approach, and they are not very pretty. You'll go through life negative and frustrated. You will be unhappy. You'll achieve only a fraction of what you are capable of achieving. There is a better way. When you choose to take out of your squigs and clean your window, life will be brighter and sunnier. You will be healthier and happier. You will set some ambitious goal and begin to achieve them. Your dream will come alive again. Still doubting whether you really have the power to change your attitude? Perhaps you are thinking, Jeff, that's easy for you to say. Your attitude would not be so good if you had any problems. Granted, some really devastating thing may have